Welcome to today's Explainer. Let's just jump right into it, because today we are tackling an essay that, honestly, completely wrecks almost everything we've been taught about influencing people. We all absolutely love this cozy idea that humans are driven by subtle psychology, good vibes and gentle little nudges. But what if that's mostly just a comforting illusion for the upper class? What if the oldest, absolute crudest engines of human behavior are actually the ones still running the show?
You know exactly the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Those corporate Jedi mind tricks. Things like handing someone a hot coffee so they subconsciously think you're a warm, friendly person, or mirroring their body language to build instant rapport. We literally eat up these behavioral life hacks, but the source text asks a super awkward question. Do these psychology tricks actually hold up when the real-world stakes get high, or are we really just playing in the kiddie pool here?
Look at the massive contrast we've got here. On one side, we have what we'll call the story we prefer. And man, we love this narrative. It tells us we don't need to be super rich to bribe people or powerful enough to threaten them. We can just use gentle nudges, social proof, a little bit of reciprocity. It really strokes our egos. But then, on the other side, the historical reality. The core thesis of the essay is that those old-school, heavy-handed tools, greed, fear, hard cash, and actual real-world consequences, well, they never left. They actually still completely dominate the world. Now, before we go any further, let's get one thing totally straight. We are not calling giants like Robert Cialdini or Daniel Kahneman frauds. Absolutely not. They are total geniuses. Their research on behavioral nudges is 100% real. But the argument here is that these tools only actually work inside a very tiny, super comfortable bubble. They work perfectly when everyone is safe, well-fed, and basically just chilling out. To really wrap our heads around this, we have to rewind all the way to 1776. Classical economics has kind of known this forever. Adam Smith famously pointed out, quote, "It is not from the benevolence of the butcher, the brewer, or the baker that we expect our dinner, but from their regard to their own interest." The butcher doesn't give you a prime cut of steak because you built awesome rapport, right? He does it because he wants your cash. The takeaway is huge. Raw, material incentives don't just nudge your psychology. They completely bulldoze it.
Section 1. The Privilege of Persuasion.
Okay, so this is where the essay gets pretty spicy. There's this massive, unspoken secret in behavioral science. Pretty much all this research is written by and tested on a very specific, comfortable social class. Think about it. If you're a well-paid manager in the comfortable class, yeah, you care about workplace culture, social proof, and recognition. A clever nudge works on you. But what about the precarious class? If you are 3 weeks from getting evicted, you literally do not care about a hiring manager's foot-in-the-door technique. You care about eating. For most of humanity throughout history, cold, hard cash is the only variable that actually matters.
Which brings us to a really uncomfortable truth for the whole persuasion industry. When the stakes go up, our biases shrink. In a low-stakes lab experiment on a college campus, sure, you'll fall for an anchoring trick. But drop a $20,000 contract on the table, boom, suddenly people wake up. Their rational brains kick into absolute overdrive. In a high-stakes negotiation, nobody cares about your perfectly timed pause. They are furiously doing the math on what happens if they walk away.
Section 2. What happens at scale?
So, one-on-one interactions are one thing, but what happens when we zoom way, way out? How on earth do you coordinate millions or even billions of people at once? Enter one of the craziest technologies ever invented, the price system. As the economist Friedrich Hayek argued, the price system uses simple baseline greed to coordinate billions of complete strangers instantly. Building rapport is cute, but it really only works face-to-face. You can't vibe with the 10,000 people across the globe who built your smartphone. And the genius part is, you don't have to. The price tag translates all that global chaos and preference into a single number everyone understands. No persuasion campaign needed.
But hey, it's not just greed running the show. What about fear at a massive scale? Going all the way back to Thomas Hobbes, the foundational truth of society is that governments reach for fear, not gentle nudges, to force massive behavioral changes. Think about wartime rationing, public health quarantines, or just basic laws enforced by heavy fines and penalties. The state brings the hammer down to establish a baseline of compliance. And here's the really wild part. It's only because that scary, hard baseline of rules exists that we feel safe enough to use soft influence in the first place. We actually see this exact same dynamic at work, too. We love gushing about company culture and our shared purpose, but let's be real. Why do people actually show up at 8 a.m. when they'd much rather be sleeping? It's what the sociologist Max Weber called the iron cage of incentives. It's the very real, terrifying threat of getting fired, losing your contract, and losing your paycheck. People fall in line because the iron cage is firmly locked around them. All those psychological management tricks, they're really just polishing the bars of the cage.
Section 3. The Motivation Layer Cake.
Okay, let's summarize these key ideas and bring it all together into something practical. We aren't throwing behavioral psychology in the trash, not at all. We just need a better model, and this layer cake concept is exactly it. You just have to get the order right. Step 1. At the very bottom, material survival, greed and fear. You absolutely must secure this base first, because if someone is barely scraping by or terrified for their job, literally nothing else registers. Once they're safe and paid, then you unlock Step 2. Social belonging. This is where your nudges and persuasion actually start to work. And finally, Step 3, at the very top, purpose and meaning. The fatal mistake so many leaders make is trying to use a Step 3 tool to fix a Step 1 problem. You simply can't inspire a team that can't pay their rent.
Now, to be totally fair, let's give credit where it's due. Where does modern persuasion actually crush it? Well, it's absolutely amazing for breaking ties. If two software products cost the exact same and do the same thing, social proof will win the deal every single time. Nudges are also pure magic for cheap social goods, like making organ donation an opt-out default instead of opt-in. That literally saves thousands of lives for zero cost. And in high-trust professions, like being a doctor or a financial advisor, genuine empathy and rapport isn't just a trick, it's the whole point of the job.
But as we wrap this up, always remember, the map is not the territory. The big final takeaway from all of this is that modern persuasion mapped out the psychological surface of human behavior beautifully, but it totally forgot about the massive, heavy foundation of material reality that it sits on. Make no mistake, greed and fear built civilization, and they still run it.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. The world honestly doesn't care about our favorite comforting stories. It runs on cold, hard facts. Take a look at your own life and how you try to lead or influence the people around you. Have you been maybe a little naive about how power and motivation actually operate? Are you using the right tool for the right layer of that cake? Or are you just reaching for the tools that make you feel like a good person? Next time you try to influence someone, ask yourself the hard question. Is this a framing problem or is it just a money problem? Because getting that answer right, well, that changes the whole game.